the stage is Phoebus and Enrique from the Spectrum Next project. Martin's staying with us as well to field a few questions of his own. And we're going to chat a little bit about the project, about the origins, where we are, where it's going. I think you have a bit of news to share with us as well.
Oh, we have plenty.
Oh, that's always good. But firstly, thank you very much for coming to Retcon this year. We know it's a long way to travel. We really appreciate you being with us today. And obviously, you've already brought one of the fantastic Spectrum Next machines onto the stage with us today.
You shouldn't touch that one.
Or is there something a bit wrong with this one?
It's a unique, that's why. I see people with the Amsterdam affiliation over there.
Yes, they're wonderful people.
They don't seem to be interested in the Spectrum Next, which is a big mistake. I see Commodore people over there as well. Nobody seems to be interested in the Spectrum Next, which is another big mistake, as you'll find out very soon. All right, go ahead. Ask me whatever you want to ask me.
Okay. Well, probably first question. Well, the first question's probably got to be, you brought a machine up on stage. Have you got something to show us?
I got a few things to show.
Okay. I know you've got something big to show us. Anything you want to show us first?
Get out of the way. All right, let's get it out of the way. As you know, whoever of you knows, the Next is an FPGA-based computer, which is not emulator-based, and not the least. We try to recreate the original machine the best way possible. Our last announcement in Crash, and we had a version of the QL core to show, so basically we're bringing all the Sinclairs in one machine, but then we said, why stop there? And then since we said, why stop there, we went a way over. If you can see what it says there. And it's not load a cart. Our good friend Steve Day's graphics.
Commodore people, you probably want to have a look at this.
You need to pay attention.
And there you go. We have the C64 running on the Spectrum Next, everybody. How about that? But I think just as Phoebus gets something running here, this is illustrative of just the versatility of the Next platform.
I'm sorry. Of course, it's a real Commodore, and this is a real 1541, so it takes some time. I apologize.
Yeah, so standard 1541 loading time, so we'll come back to this on Monday, by which time it will have probably have loaded. But I just think the important thing is, this is just really illustrative of what can be achieved with cores on this machine. And really, I think it's illustrative of the impact and the importance of this project. I mean, you've now done 2 iterations of the Next, 2 very successful Kickstarters. You didn't learn from the first one because you came back and did it again, so it didn't put you off. But the end result is that we've got, now many thousand Spectrum Next out there, a growing community, a growing software base. Even here today, we've got a number of Spectrum Next games available for sale, lots of machines on display showcasing the Next running. It's become, not only a very versatile platform, but a very desirable one.
Well, it's desired for many reasons, but I think for us is because we try to package it the same way a machine was to be packaged back then. So you get your full manual, you know how to use the thing, it's intuitive, it doesn't have you jump through hoops. For example, you have a Mister, you have to learn how to put this whole damn thing together, and then you get a half-baked course that never quite work, okay? What we try always to do is to present a machine that's complete, and you can be happy bringing it home Christmas. Put it under the tree, that's why the box is the way it is. We have the manual the way it is. It's ready. Now let's try.
It is. And I've just got to say, for those of you in the audience, if you don't have a Spectrum Next, one thing I particularly want to flag up is the manual. Now, I backed the first Kickstarter for the Spectrum Next. Attic Attack running on the C64, except it's not a C64.
It's a C64 game, though.
It's a C64 game, running as if it was on the on a original hardware. Yeah, as you can see, that is pixel perfect. But yeah, as I was saying about the manual, so I backed the first Kickstarter, and I actually had conversations with Phoebus on Facebook about the upcoming manual, and it was talking about how extensive it would be. And I've got me, I was thinking, yeah, extensive. It'll probably end up being about 4 pages. Then my Next arrived with half a tree in it of manual. It was wonderful. Everything you could possibly need to know about the machine is in this wonderful tome. And it was almost as exciting as getting the machine itself out of the box, was playing and going through that manual.
The whole idea is, as I said, to be excited about a machine. Lots of us, the retro way of doing things is the right way of doing things. So if you're to give it to someone who will spend a lot of money, a lot of good hard work, earn money on the machine like that, you better actually reward them with something that can actually use it. What we wanted to do with the Spectrum Next is to make a machine that everybody can program, and you can actually build games very easily, even from BASIC.
That's absolutely right.
Now you see a C64 core. We're not going to stay in a regular machine.
Well, that's right, isn't it? One of the criticisms originally about the Spectrum Next that I used to hear a lot is it's so expensive, and also it's like getting hen's teeth. We couldn't get them. Well, we're going to hear a bit more about that. But when you think that the Next itself is just a platform, that were a beautiful looking platform, by the way, probably the nicest production machine I've seen since the original Ron Dickinson machines in their day.
Yep.
This is a Rick Dickinson machine.
Exactly, yeah. Well, but not only that, but of course, it's actually with the core capability, with the flexibility to put other machines on there, the machines we all know and love, you're getting multiple machines in one. Not compromised, not simply emulators as we see in some other areas. So that's why I fell in love with the Next. I backed the second Kickstarter and finally got it. It was the longest wait. I think that was like 18 months, but it was worth it. No sooner had I got it, I wanted to run the QL on it, of course, and that was made possible too. So you've got multiple machines in here. So you needn't think about it as being simply a Spectrum in that regard, although it does that so beautifully as well. Just wanted to call that out.
Yeah, but it also serves as a springboard for the next stage, right? One of the beauties of the Next is that hardware-wise is compatible with original machines. I can pick up extension and put it there and it will work like it did on the original, right? But now we are working on a Commodore 64 core and we are licensing the ROMs to be able to
Yes, by the way, it's going to be licensed fully. We closed the deal today.
Exactly.
Thank you.
But it serves like the springboard for us to design a physical machine that is more suited for that core in the future, including the capability to attach hardware to it, right?
As it is now, we can attach with adapters original C64 hardware on this. So, and you can load from tape. You can use you can use the tape input that the Next has, but in the future you'll be able to connect a data set on it and load from the original hardware without any problems.
So it's a nice way to start segue projects that expand the community, right? But above all, our main focus right now is to get the Next in the hands of more people. So when you develop something for it, you'll find a market that can sustain your passion, right? We do that through several ways. The Next itself, but also enable people like the NGO guys and the Pi guys, the X-Pi guys, to make machines which are fully compatible that expands the market and get more people hands that we could possibly do it ourselves through Kickstarter.
We're in the end, we want to address as many retro enthusiasts as possible. For now, apart from the C64, which is a complete core as a C64, we have in the works an Amstrad CPC 6128.
Oh, yes. Amstrad people, did you hear that?
They don't care. Leave them be. No, they don't care. But we already have a CPC core. We already have a SAM core, so a SAM Coupe is in the works. And we have a BCXT core that works. It's not production ready. It's not up to our standards. For something to go in and be available, it has to be legal. it has to be complete, and it has to be nextified. 3 things. Nextified means we imagine the stage of the development of the machine when the machine was new and stopped production, and then we take it a step further. Like with the Spectrum, we did what the Lockheed would have been, and we took it even further than that. The QL right now, the QL Core has 65,000 callers. It has an AY audio, and we'll probably put a SID in there. I'm not sure exactly when. And it has ESP, so it connects to the internet. It speaks to FAT32 formatted hard drives, so it's up to par with the latest developments. It's not a machine that exists in the void of a retro world. The same thing with the Spectrum Next. It can talk to the internet. It can download stuff from there. It's very easy. We have the infrastructure set up, so you can go in, just run a little program, and you download a game and you play it. Everything in a legal way, and everything in a way that respects both the machine and the authors of the software, which is very important to us. What else do I want to say about? Oh, yeah, we have plenty of things to talk about. Hold on.
Well, just very quickly while you're getting that ready, one just follow-up question. So, I mean, the one thing that's very clear here is that, you know, we've moved on considerably from that very first Kickstarter campaign and the original objectives that were being talked about. You know, the Next has very much grown, you know, beyond its original, I suppose, I won't say its original purpose, but its original selling point, which was, you know, it was a next evolution of the Spectrum platform. You know, it gave you that backward compatibility, but it also gave you new stuff to update and bring things forward. But now we're going really beyond that now. With all this work on cores, it's really showing just an incredible level of versatility for this platform and really illustrating the power of FPGA over emulation. The ability to deliver some really quite impressive and rock solid iterations of a variety of different machines, all running on one piece of hardware.
First of all, let me tell you the simple truth we've spoken about many, many times. Nobody pays attention. It was always our plan to get here. Actually, our plan is to get further than here.
Yeah. But you've
It's-
got to start somewhere, and the Spectrum was a great place to
The Spectrum
start.
was a very open platform. Enrique coming from Brazil, it was a very popular base back there, and me coming from Greece, and everybody else that got involved originally, Victor, don't forget, Victor Fabio, we all had this as the closest encounter to whatever computing meant originally for us. That doesn't mean we're agnostic to the other platforms, or we didn't want to bring everything together. One of the biggest problems we have in the retro world is that there is a little bit of animosity, and everybody doesn't like the other guy. We're not in the old in a primary school where you fight during recess about my Commodore is better and your Spectrum is better. We would like to have all the machines on one place, doing, and the person that actually uses it can use the best bits of every single one of them, which is the important thing. So what we're going with that is we're moving past that to get even higher, but keep still the premise that a simple person that doesn't have a special knowledge can get it and program it on it and do something with it. Something that's productive, enjoyable, and why not? If you've seen how many people have developed games, maybe a little bit profitable as well.
Absolutely, yes. So, just out of interest, just surveying our crowd here today, who here has a Spectrum Next already? So, as we said, we've got a pretty good installed user base already, which is hugely encouraging. Again, just out of interest, who got their Spectrum Next in the first Kickstarter rather than the second? So who got theirs in the first Kickstarter? Okay. Right, put your hands
bit of
down.
news
and
for
who,
you.
And who got theirs on the second Kickstarter? So, yeah, about 50-50. Oh, and one guy who's got more money than sense who bought both.
We have a bit of news for the guys, for the first Kickstarter one. We're discussing with Enrique, and it's been brought to our attention many, many times over the last 9 years, because it's been 9 years. The time passes.
How did
Enrique,
that happen?
Enrique used to have white hair back then. He always said he was born that way. Because many people have asked us if we'll be able to give Kickstarter 2 next capability to Kickstarter 1. So we decided this time around, we're going to be able to give that as a stretch goal if there is enough interest in the Kickstarter, which we're going to announce soon. Well, I'm talking soon about the next couple minutes. We'll be able to give people that have KS1 machines the ability to upgrade to make them full Kickstarter 2, with the benefits they have, no back power and everything else. And of course, bringing the platform a little bit closer together and give you an extra thing, collectible, that you can sell on eBay, I guess. Now, regarding Kickstarter 3, I'll pass this to Enrique.
And you need to listen very carefully to this. This is going to be important.
If you want to get one, listen.
Now, it's super straightforward, right? Our ambition is to expand the reach of the Spectrum Next as far as wide as we can. We now just passed 200 games made exclusively for it, which is way beyond what I thought it was possible when we started. I thought, yeah, maybe a dozen of remakes of the old games will crop up. Now 200 games, you can find them, some of them being sold physically here, and it's beautiful to see. So we have to enable the developers to reach larger audiences. And in that vein, Kickstarter 3 is coming in July. We're going to do on the 19th of July?
19th of July.
19th of July, we're going to put it out there, and it will come from the box with the new cores as well. So you will be able to run the QL from the core, the Commodore from the core.
The Commodore will be in there, at least the first iteration. We promise that we're going to expand it. But you'll be able, if you're Commodore affiliates, okay, you'll be able to play your favorite games immediately with a Kickstarter 3 machine.
Yeah, so but it still is a Spectrum at its heart, right?
Yeah.
And that's the main goal of it, is to make sure that the Next is in as many hands as we possibly can push it to, so the community can thrive and more cool games that get made. And networking.
Lovely.
And networking.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because Martin here is the god of networking. You should worship him. Every Sunday, though, not every day.
I was interested to know how many between Kickstarter 1 and 2 units have actually been sold.
Want to include the compatibles ones?
Yeah.
No, we sold 10,000 units.
10,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
We're not
it's
talking
massive.
small.
10,000, wow.
I think we're about 16,000 units with the compatibles as well.
Yeah. And clearly, that's exactly the sort of footprint you need to encourage more developers to write the next batch of games,
Yes, exactly.
next evolution. Yeah. And how many are you going to make in the next Kickstarter 3?
I have no idea. I never expected Kickstarter 2 to be bigger than the first.
Right.
Right? We will find out when we put it live and cross our fingers.
Well, maybe we can find out from this audience how many are waiting for Kickstarter 3 to get their hands on a Next. Okay, so we've got to go.
Yeah, there's a
That's
reason
at least 10.
I think a few more hands might go up in a few minutes' time.
Well, we release it on a Friday after the pub run. You never know. Seriously, that's why I'm releasing it on a Friday. So if anybody drinks a lot, there's a Kickstarter after that. Now, the one thing we need to remember is Kickstarter 3, as Enrique said, this is still going to be a Spectrum in its core. But every single machine we touch, it's going to be the machine in its core, and we're going to improve upon it. That's why the QL core has gotten to where it is. Right now, the QL core, as I said, has 65,000 colors. It has 512 color modes. It has PCM audio that's actually higher in quality than the Next. It has full access to the ESP, full access to the RTC. So it sees all the Next hardware. The Raspberry Pi is actually coming up next, and the expansion board coming up next. And it's a full 32-bit access to the memory. It's a full 32-bit machine running a 68020 at 44 megahertz right now. It's one of the fastest 68K machines you can get. So if you expect an Amiga, you should, because it's coming.
Did you hear that? Amiga Core coming soon.
And if you get an Amiga and you don't play with them next, you're excommunicated, all of you. I'm allowed, right? No, I'm allowed.
Well, it's done now, we all know. So, one question I do want to ask while I've got you both here. Undertaking a project like this is no small activity at the best of times. Some would say it's a hiding to nothing. Certainly it's a hiding to a lot of sleepless nights. But, you know, what prompted you to actually go all in on producing the next and bringing it to life? Because let's face it, you could have potentially have done this in many easier and cheaper and less risky ways, but you went all in on bringing new original hardware to market under very challenging circumstances.
A real keyboard.
Real key, lest we forget that the trials and tribulations of getting that keyboard to where it is. But you know, again, this raises my point. You know, bringing a whole new machine like this from scratch to market is not easy. It's not quick, and there are lots of curveballs that come along the way. And you've done it twice now. So I've got to ask, you know, why do it when, you know, quite frankly, you could have gone down cheaper and easier routes. You could have gone emulation. You could have gone generic FPGA device. But you didn't, and you produced a beautiful, wonderful, versatile machine as a
Generic
result.
FPGA devices are ugly. We don't like ugly things. That's for me. He'll tell you the real reason, though.
Yeah.
Go on, Enrique. Let's hear what you got to say.
Originally, the first impetus to do it like this was to recapture that moment where we found our Spectrum under a Christmas tree and we opened it, and it was ready to be plugged and played, right? We would plug it into a cassette tape that everybody had at home, a TV set that everybody had at home, browse the manual, and you will get going. I'm a hardware maker myself. I tweak machines and build stuff, but it's not the same experience for you to open the box, get the smell. So that was the first step. When the first Kickstarter was out, and we saw parents buying for their kids to learn about computers and get in contact with BASIC, you flip a switch and it's there, and you can start programming, unlike any other machine you can buy today. That added a second component to it, of why we do it the way we do it, right? Which is, again, out of the box and simplicity and get it out of there while the manual is so exhaustively put together. So this is the core behind it, is to recreate that experience, that emotional connection to the machine to a point where you want to use it, you want to discover more of it. And this is why we went out of our way to grab Rick Dickinson and design the machine with the DNA of the original and all that. Right? Again, this is super important because we're talking about these new cores, etc. For now, they're just cores. But if they put the cores in the hands of people and they start to make good games for those cores, good software for it, when we make a new whatever next, there is already a body of software ready to ship with it and kickstart a movement similar to what we did with the Sinclair with other machines. So it's a kind of accidental because it happened one step at a time, but if you look in retrospect, it looks like a grand plan.
It was God's way. The whole point is, if the C64 is properly nextified as we have it in our brains, there's a lot of things we need to do still, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. I would like to present you with a result. But let's say it's kind of like the thing the guys from C65 did. They tried to make a machine in a different way. We have a different approach to that. We don't like it to be complicated. We like it to be easy. Easy to use, easy to program, easy to touch, and not be afraid of the machine. It's a different thing if you touch a 1,000-pound machine like the C65 and say, ooh, I may break it now if I do something. This, you can open it. I mean, okay, it's not that cheap, I know. Okay, we'd love to make it cheaper. If we make more units, it will be cheaper. So you better buy a lot of them, so it's cheaper even more. But the thing is, it has value over time and it's resilient. It won't break. We've tried a ton of things on it, and it has survived even. What did the other guy put on? 50 volts on it? Yeah.
Yeah, it takes quite a beating.
It takes quite a beating, and it keeps on working. So at least we're proud that it's a very tough little machine. It's tougher than the original Spectrum, which says something. And we'll keep on at it as long as we can. Because the point is, for me, as Enrique said, for me at the manual, he asked me, can you do the manual? It gave me a team of people to work with. And then I realized it wasn't going to work that way because the machine was so more advanced than the Spectrum that you needed to actually specifically write for this, not just attach the old manual and just skim through it and change a few bits. So I rewrote the entire thing. Only a few chapters in the beginning harken back to the original, and there's a lot of work in it. But I couldn't stop. Once I started, it's like you have to explain this and this and this and this, and then it propels you by itself. It takes you there. You want to make it better. So our pledge is always that whatever we touch, we want to make it better. So you're going to get a Commodore as well. It's going to be a better Commodore, and you're going to get an Amiga. It's going to be a better Amiga. You're going to get an Atari ST. You're going to get a better Atari ST. And you are getting those things, trust me. It might not come tomorrow, but they're coming. Why are you laughing?
That was a very subtle way of slipping that in there, wasn't it?
No subtlety.
No. So again, you just heard it here first. We've seen the C64 core. We know that there is an Amiga core on the horizon. And SimbaOS running there at the moment. I thought it was SimbaOS. I was going to ask you actually about that. And yeah, as we know, also now Atari ST on the horizon as well. Again, just illustrating the versatility of this platform, and all the more reason why you now want to back the next Kickstarter, because you're just going to be able to do so much more with your next.
There is one little thing we forgot.
Go on.
There is a nice game coming.
Oh.
Urbex Warriors.
Yes, Urbex Warriors.
I was told that he will get a new machine if I produce a translucent next.
Oh.
So they're going to be a translucent next, okay? There you go.
There we go.
All right.
Again, obviously, Urbex Warriors, we had Stu and Tony on stage a little bit earlier talking about the game. Again, if you've not had a chance to look at it, have a look at their table at the back of the room. It's a cracking game running on the Next, and it illustrates just how much you can do with the platform in terms of making brilliant gaming. So, oh yes, the raffle. And I should also point out at this point, we're still going to take some questions in a moment, but if you haven't already done so, you've got about an hour left to enter the raffle. And the reason I mention that is that the star prize in the raffle this year is something truly special, truly unique. And Chris, who's just hiding at the back there behind his camera, would you mind going and grabbing the star prize off the raffle table for me, please? I'm so pleased to say that the Next team have supported us this year by providing the star prize for the raffle, which Chris is about to bring up. Now, don't let the box fool you. This is not a regular product. Get him back here,
Chris. Has figured it out.
To the stage, not to your car. Come on. As I said, don't let the box fool you. This isn't a regular product. This is something truly special and truly rare. And I don't mean rare as in eBay seller rare. This is genuinely rare. So, the star prize is the Spectrum Next. This is the current version of the machine, but this is the truly rare one. This is a white Spectrum Next.
There are only 3 of these, isn't that right, Phoebus, in the world remaining? Oh, 50. Okay, well,
only one of 50.
Rare.
One of 50. This is really an opportunity to win something.
They're never going to be made again.
Yeah, won't be made
no
again.
No more white ones. ever.
This is one of the most exclusive clubs in the world that you could become a member of. So if you haven't already got your raffle ticket, go and see the front desk over by the main door. You've got 1 hour left to get in on this. But before you run away, I want to open up the floor, if we can, to a few questions. So, a few hands already going up. Martin, as you have the longest lead, could I ask you to have a wander down the front? Down to me. There we go. And there we go. Yeah, round angle. There we go. So, gentleman there, second row in the black t-shirt.
Hi, yeah, I'd like to find out. Obviously, I really appreciate the Next team and all the developments that they're doing. With the new ROMs, will they be enhanced like the standard Spectrum ROM that currently is in existence, in as much as that you can use them with dot commands and so on? The other question I was going to ask you, if you're going to be developing these ROMs,
You'll have to repeat the question because we can't hear shit.
Huh?
Come closer.
I was... Oh, I see. Right. With regard the new ROMs, would they be enhanced ROMs? In other words, just like how you've spent a lot of trouble enhancing the Spectrum ROMs with new commands, will you be able to use more of the hardware in relation to the C64?
Yeah, it should be
For the Commodore.
Can you hear me?
For the extra course. Depends. Some things, like the QL, we don't have to change the ROM. The operating system gets extended with drivers. So the QL Next has extra drivers for audio and everything. What you do is just write a piece of code and then gets on top of the operating system. But obviously not everything is as advanced as a QL. So for the Commodore 64, as it stands now, we're going to keep the ROM as it is and then provide extra facilities which the programmers will be able to access. Don't forget, if you're using the C64, poke commands are not unknown to you. You don't write play something. It's more complicated to do graphics and sound in the Commodore 64 than it is on the Spectrum. It's the way the BASIC does. You can actually extend it. If you use another BASIC, you can extend it, and it will be able to see the extra. The extra hardware will be in well-publicized places, and addresses, so it will be easy to use.
One of the other things I was going to say, just along those lines, is that it would be very nice to be able to sort of pass a syntax of the game to the ROM itself when you call it from your next menu at the beginning. That would be extremely handy for most users of the Next.
This is already possible.
That's fantastic.
Our next question, who will it be? Gentleman at the front. Go on.
It's just a quick one, not directly related to KS3, for example, but nobody could have estimated the rate at which the bids would go up for KS2. I remember, what was it, 10th of August 2020, 8 o'clock. I was there watching that ticker go up so quickly. It was so exciting. Will there ever be a video or anything released about the making of the Spectrum Next and the team behind it?
So the question there is, any plans for a video or a documentary about the making of the Next?
He's the good-looking one. I don't know.
Actually, Anthony was here earlier for the Rubber Key Wonder, and he already proposed to make a documentary of the making of the Spectrum. So it could happen. I'll make sure that we give that a good look. And I don't think it will be in time for Kickstarter 3 because he has other projects like the Commodore Amiga documentary and things like that. but he expressed an interest in doing it, and I think that he's well suited for that.
Thank you. Next question. Gentleman at the back there.
Do you know what will be the price for Kickstarter 3?
We're still pricing the components, so we'll be a little while. You have to. We're trying to go lower. We don't want to sell high. There's no point.
Actually, a quick follow-up on that point. So you're saying that you're still pricing up components. This, of course, obviously became quite an interesting challenge for KS2 in that, given the time that this was taking place through the pandemic, you experienced firsthand some significant shocks in the component market in terms of cost of key bits.
Yes.
Are things settled down now finally? Has the market finally settled down for components?
We have Trump as a president of the United States, man. Do you think it's going to ever be easy? It's never going to be easy. Something happens always.
Okay. Is it less crazy than last
It's less
time?
crazy. It's less crazy. But you don't know what's going to happen. Like somebody decides that they're going to raise the tariffs to 170%. What can you do about it? Hopefully that won't be the case. Hopefully. Okay. But our goal is to go low as possible. Okay. We've done it before, so certain costs we can mitigate. Others we can. It's not feasible to do so, but we'll try our best. And that's the best we can do.
And of course, if you do actually buy a raffle ticket, there's a chance you won't pay anything, right? Well, apart from the price of the raffle ticket.
And that's probably the best investment you'll make
Up here,
today.
you're with us, not with them. Take the shirt off.
Next question. Gentleman there, middle row, the yellow shirt.
Hiya. The Symboss option that you brought up, I had a go with it on my Next a little while ago.
So please speak into the mic a bit more.
Yeah, Symboss that you showed. When I tried it, great system, but it doesn't load any actual Next software written for Next. Is there any way of integrating it, a bit like Windows 95 did for the PC?
He was asking, is there any scope for integrating Symboss a bit more into the Next? So it can run... Yeah.
SymboOS runs on Spectrum Next right now.
Yeah, but the running native Next software, like Windows 95...
That's up to the SymboOS guys.
Yeah, just wondering...
Technically speaking, it's not impossible. But you have to modify Spectrum Next software in such a way to conform to what the requirements is. A different operating system altogether.
Yeah, just wondered if we could take the Spectrum Next that step, not necessarily Symboss.
Theoretically, it's a computer. You can program it. Anything is possible.
Lovely.
I could fly if I were a computer, but I'm not. So.
Thank you.
Plus, I'm fat right now. Sorry.
Thank you for that. Sorry, I think, Tony, you had a question, yeah?
Hi. Two questions. Is the KS3 hardware the same as KS2, like the FPGA chip? And any chance of PlayStation 1 core?
So will the KS3 hardware be the same as KS2?
I think Enrique needs to reply to that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, yes, there's a couple of things we want to do. There has been a lot of requests for a second SD card internal, so that is something we were likely to do. There is a lot of requests for a larger FPGA, so we can do more things with it, but it's important that we don't break retrocompatibility somehow. So we're going to look on that. Back to your question, what is the state of the market for components right now? It has settled a bit, so we might be able to push on the FPGA while keeping the price or lowering it a bit. But that has to be confirmed. But that's the idea. We expand a bit the FPGA. Now, in terms of the core support in PlayStation, I never saw anyone working on that particular core, but I don't think there is any memory. There's also plans to increase the memory while providing an expansion for existing ones. But the PlayStation Core, I never heard anything about anyone working on one. It could be done.
PS1 core.
The Uno has it.
So it can be done. We have not allocated anyone to do that, but it could be done.
The PlayStation 1 core can be made. There are certain issues with that. First of all, Sony, which is a non-starter. Theoretically, somebody could do it and release it in the wild. It won't be us, because I don't want to face Sony's attorneys. But it's possible. The PlayStation 1 only, the 2, it's impossible to fit in that FPGA. PlayStation 1 is absolutely doable, though. Now, if you can find the ROMs and you can get an okay, yeah, why not?
Okay, next question. Gentleman back here at the front.
I have another question. I was wondering, I produce charity software, so I don't make any money. Anything I develop is free for anyone to use. And I develop solely for the Next. And you probably know that I've been doing quite a few different bits of software over the years. I'd like to have it, if possible, on the Kickstarter 3 distro. If that's possible, that would be fantastic. My software, I'm implementing self-updating software. So rather than it having to always, for users to download things, they could just run the auto-update. And just second part of my question is that given that the Next has that Wi-Fi capability, and clearly with the development of network capabilities that we've previously heard, surely we can be at the stage where the Next itself can be updated and save people downloading the distro itself every time as well.
I'll start from the end and then go back to the front of the question. Self-updating stuff is possible, obviously. There's not a problem with that. However, using the cores that we have, and especially since many of them still require container files, it's pretty impossible to do that because the container files, based on the hardware that exists, because don't forget, when you recreating the hardware like QLSD, this was made, in order to make it completely compatible, we have to make it exactly the same. And if it's exactly the same, means it's unaware of the FAT filing system on the SD card, which means it's just lazy and goes and looks at the first 16 positions of the file location table to find a container file. And then it takes it from there. If you self-update, it might not write in the same position. There's no way or guarantee that it will write in the same position. Therefore, you will break a core. Not a core, the software of a core. So we can't do that. As long as we have everything reading from FAT, and still not every machine is capable of that, of doing that. The SAM, for example, to have a perfectly working core, I cannot do that because there's no FAT32 capability on the SAM. And they haven't been developed yet. On the QL, there is one now. That was the only core I let release with a container file system because there was no other way to do it at that time. We pushed and we begged and we promised, and we have a FAT32 driver now. And we're still missing a couple bits. Once he gets them, then we'll get rid of the container file. Unless every core is exactly the same way, you can upload from far away. And that's also the same reason why every single distribution gets tested. Self-updating software I cannot allow there for the same reason, because it might break something else. Plus, I have to go look in all the software. You make complex pieces of software. I know you asked me again before. You have pictures that do not belong to you at some points. Or you find something that's not necessarily you. I'm talking about, generally speaking. You find something and you put as a background, like stuff that your software offers. Are you sure it's legal? How sure are you it's legal? It's very difficult to offer a complex piece of software unless you're absolutely certain 100% where it comes from and what it is, and if it's not going to break with every update on every new feature. So that's the reason why we can't allow every single piece of software on the core. If you had, like, for example, a snapshot-based software, like a SNA-based software, yeah, that would be okay because you can update it online and always make sure it worked. But something complex, difficult. Very, very difficult. I hope I answered it.
Okay, we have got time for one more question if there is one from the floor.
Martin's going to dance.
Okay, I think we're good for questions now. So just in closing, I just really want to hand the things back to you and Enrique. Really just for your final thoughts and any final tidbits you want to share with the audience about the next project and what you're hoping to achieve.
That's a little open-ended. Only 2 minutes. Yeah? I have 2 minutes? Oh, that's easy then. Well, what I hope is for the next, and that's why we started doing it, like after a little while, after we got in sync with building it and developing it, what we hope is that to every person that comes in from a specific retro community, to be able to give them the same sense of community based on the next, and to help him have a brand new piece of hardware that can run his favorite software and maybe improve upon it a little bit. We want to be inclusive, not exclusive. So yes, we are Spectrum at heart, but we will be a Commodore at heart, and we'll be a QL at heart, and we'll be an Atari at heart. It's about the hobby itself, the retro computing hobby, that's important, and how it brings people together and teaches them something, and after all, makes you a little smarter, you know. The more you learn, the smarter you become. So this is all about this. It's the sense of community. There's nothing else I can give as a message here in this.
I think that works well. Enrique, any last words from you?
Can't agree more with P, is the community. But also, I really hope we get in the stage that the people who want to make a living of making games and apps for the next, they can do so, because there is a base that supports them in doing so. So that is my main objective. It's a little known fact that we help a lot of developers financially with the proceeds of the Kickstarter as well, right? For them to make the games and make more stuff available to everybody to play. We want more of that, the more capability to get people to build cool games that we would like to play ourselves.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for sharing what you have with our audience. And remember, Kickstarter 3 coming soon. Make sure you back it.